Denmark is often referred to as the happiest country worldwide, and it is among the safest countries in the world with an exceptionally high degree of democracy, low corruption and a great welfare system, including great healthcare and inexpensive childcare. Its quality of life is among the highest in the world, and many people can only dream of living in such a wonderful country like Denmark. Nevertheless, as in any country, there are a few drawbacks that come with living in Denmark. As part of my downsides of moving to playlist, I would like to address the downsides of moving to Denmark in more detail. Let's begin with the Danish climate. In Denmark, there is a temperate climate, cold in winter and mild and pleasantly warm in summer. Although Denmark is located at high latitudes, it is affected by ocean currents, so it is not as cold as one might think. In fact, clouds, humidity, rain and wind are predominant. And if we compare Copenhagen, Denmark's capital, to London, which is internationally known for its bad weather, then we see that Copenhagen has not only more rainfall throughout the year, but also more rainy days throughout the year and also less total sunshine hours throughout the year. July is the warmest month, with an average daytime high of 21 degrees Celsius, though it can get much warmer in the peak of summer. The country is small and flat, so there are little climatic differences between different parts of the country. However, the western coasts of the Jutland Peninsula are milder, even windier and even rainier than the rest of the country. If you prefer a warmer, sunnier and more Mediterranean type of climate, then moving to Denmark might not be the best idea. You will need to get more familiar with rain, wind and clouds, especially in December when it is cloudy 70% of the time. But in contrast to the long, cold, snowy and windy winters, summer in Copenhagen is comfortable and only partly cloudy. Another point to consider is darkness in winter. Because of Copenhagen's northern latitude, the number of daylight hours varies considerably between summer and winter. On June 21st, the longest day in the northern hemisphere, the sun rises at 4:26 am and sets at 9:58 pm, providing 17 hours and 32 minutes of daylight. On December 21st, however, it rises at 8:37 am and sets at 3:39 pm with 7 hours and 1 minute of daylight. Therefore, there is a difference of 10 hours and 31 minutes in the length of days between summer and winter. The darkness in winter might result in you feeling a bit depressed, but then you just have to think about how much sunlight there will be in summer and everything will be okay. I think these differences make the seasons more distinct and interesting, but you just have to get used to the schedule. Another downside of moving to Denmark is its flat terrain. Its average elevation is 31 meters above sea level, and its highest point is Målehøj at 170 meters above sea level. There are some hills here and there, but the country is mostly flat. So you cannot go for hiking trips and cannot perform winter sport to the degree as in the Scandinavian mountain range or the Alps. Nevertheless, Denmark surprisingly has a few ski resorts. But if you enjoy being in a mountainous environment with all the activities and epic views that come with it, then Denmark is not the right country for you. In contrast to Denmark's Nordic relatives Sweden, Norway and Finland, you won't find endless areas of untouched nature waiting for you to explore. Sure, Denmark is a much smaller country and Greenland on the other hand has plenty of untouched nature to offer, but still the Danish mainland has a higher population density and less undisturbed forests. If you prefer going on wilderness tours in forests, then Sweden, Norway or Finland might be a better fit. Denmark is an expensive country. Living in Copenhagen is more than 20% more expensive than living in Berlin, but about 8% less expensive than living in Dallas, Texas. Copenhagen is famous for its exceptionally high costs for eating out. Compared to London, expect to pay more than 20% more for eating out in Copenhagen and 70% more for eating out than in Berlin. And groceries are also more expensive than in London. On the other hand, rents are 30% lower than in London. And in Denmark, the average wage is at about 40,000 Danish crowns before tax, which is about $5,500 a month. This allows you to have a good and comfortable life in Copenhagen with all expenses covered. In any case, it makes sense to accumulate some savings before moving to Denmark. Denmark is known for its high tax rates. Sure, Denmark offers great social benefits and has a well-functioning welfare system, but such a welfare system has to be financed somehow. As you can see in this diagram, tax revenues in Denmark make up more than 50% of the entire GDP. Say you are making $60,000 annually, then the government will take almost 50% of your salary in taxes. leaving you with about $34,000 at the end of the year. This plays against all incentives of making a lot of money. Once you realize that every second day you work for the government, you might feel less motivated to pursue a great career. The value-added tax rate has consistently been increased since the year of 1967, and the general value-added tax rate is now at 25%. High taxes are also a main driver of the high living expenses. In Denmark, public transportation is well developed and cycling infrastructure is great, which is why many Danes use public transport and their bicycle to commute. But one problem about owning a car is that there are not only high taxes on the initial purchase of a car, but also fuel is highly taxed. High taxation is a problem not only in Denmark, but also in Sweden, Finland and Norway, and in fact in many European countries. So if you are looking for a country where you can save some money on taxes, then Denmark is not the right country for you. Let's take a look at the Danish currency. Since the year of 2010, the Danish crown has lost more than 35% of its value against the Swiss franc and more than 30% of its value against the US dollar. Compared to the euro, the Danish crown has remained stable. The Danish crown is a stable currency, but for people saving money in Danish crowns, this means that their savings lose value over time relative to the Swiss franc and the US dollar. An interesting drawback I discovered on the internet is the legal system. Crime rates in Denmark are very low, but the legal system is not as effective as it could be. Corporate crime tends to be more present in Denmark, while civil crime levels are much lower. It is hard to get precise statistics on this topic, but apparently corporate crime is more present than one might think. This tendency can be observed in Switzerland as well. While petty crime and corruption within the government is pretty much non-existent, corporate crime and corporate corruption is much of a bigger problem. High alcohol consumption appears to be another downside of Denmark. Drinking in Denmark is a popular activity, especially during the dark winter months, and it is not uncommon to see a person drunk before 7 p.m. on a Friday in Denmark. Those who are not willing to participate may find their social lives to be somewhat limited. Drinking is a normal part of the society, where it seems more unusual if you are not willing to participate than to have a beer at lunch. There is a language barrier in Denmark. Even though English is widely spoken in Copenhagen and many Danes speak English, learning Danish should still be a priority when moving to Denmark. It also shows that you are willing to integrate into Danish society. Being capable of speaking Danish is often a prerequisite to finding a job. While learning Danish can be relatively easy to some, it can be tricky for others. And in any case, it requires some time and effort. Danish can be difficult to understand, especially when you are used to a language that uses more intonation. Making friends in Denmark can be difficult for a number of reasons. Denmark has a large expat community, with many people moving in and moving out of Denmark frequently. This makes it harder to form long-lasting relationships. Also, as to some reports on the internet, many Danes will make lasting friendships in primary school and are then hesitant to look outside of their social circles to make new friends later in life. This of course is a generalization, and being able to make friends also depends on your openness and attitude. If you share a smile and are happy and open, then finding friends won't be hard, just make sure your friends don't move away next year. As always, the last downside is a bit of a fun fact. You should be aware that unfurnished in Denmark does not mean the same as unfurnished in the majority of destinations around the world. If a home in Denmark is unfurnished, it will most likely be completely empty, without even kitchen cabinets or appliances. So if you are not interested in buying and installing kitchen cabinets, make sure to look for furnished apartments in Denmark. As always, all sources are linked in the video description below. Did I miss a downside? Please let me know down in the comments.